again, just like that in a child's pose. Now, child's pose can be done with wide legs or with legs more together, with your arms out long and or your arms beside you. If your glasses are in the way, then you can always take them off or adjust them. Child's pose can be a bit uncomfortable at first, as all your parts of your body are quite contracted and bent and held in together. Breathing in deeply and out all the way. Allow yourself to really land in your child's pose, whichever version you've chosen for yourself today. We're here for 5 more breaths. Continue to settle into your stillness. Breathing deeply in and out. Start to come up into a tabletop position, up onto your hands, bringing your knees possibly closer together so that they're in line with your hips. Check in with your hands, laying them flat down on the mat, using all parts of them, and come into a few cat-cows. Inhaling, lifting your head up, chin up, belly down, bum up. From there, exhale out, around your spine, chin in towards the chest, press into your hands, and repeat. Waking up the body and the lungs this morning. Take your time to curve and round the back and the neck, the belly, the hips and the shoulders. Returning to your tabletop, we'll arch out the hips towards the right and crane our neck to look over at them. I call this sassy cat. And your hips swing from side to side as you look in the same direction as your hip has swayed. It's like cat-cow, but from side to side. Take a few breaths and move left to right, stretching the side of your ribs and the space between your ribs and your hips. One more on each side. Returning to your center, we'll go back and over towards one side in order to do a circle, going all the way down and coming all the way back up. We'll do 5 circles in each direction. coming all the way down like you're about to enter into a child's pose, and then rising all the way back up. As I lean forward, I'm testing the strength of my hands, pressing all parts of my hands into the ground. Circling round and round. And switching directions, maybe about nowish. Soft through the jaw and the face, engaging through the hands. Arriving back into a child's pose for 3 breaths. Inhaling deeply and exhaling all the way out. Returning back to your tabletop, curling your toes under and sitting back onto your heels. If it really is painful, then you will leave some of your weight in your hands. If you feel okay to do so, you might place your hands on your legs. If your baby toe has not come along with your others, you can always place it underneath along with the others. We're here for just a few breaths, warming up through the feet, bringing some circulation down into the bottom of the legs. Breathe in and breathe out. Any time that you would like to, you can bring your hands back onto the mat. A little bit farther away from you, lift your bum up and come into a downward facing dog. Pedal out through the heels, stretching through the back of the legs, also relaxing the feet after such a deep stretch. One heel can come down while the other can come up. Press into the hands and repeat on the other side. Again, one more time. One leg bent, one leg straight. Both heels down, bum up, downward facing dog for 2 more breaths. Begin by walking forward towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Take your hands onto your shins, lengthen your spine. And exhale, fall back down. We'll do that 2 more times. When you fall back down, really fall, look behind you, bringing your nose towards your knees, stretching the back of your legs, lean some weight into your toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen your spine all the way to the crown of your head, and exhale and fold it down again. Last time, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold down. Your hands can be like 2 little tents just in front of your feet. Place your weight into your left foot and lift your right leg up. Try to have even hips and a long spine, so you're looking sort of just in front of your hands. Your hips are even, as though you are in the shape of a T. We're here for 3 more breaths. From this position, we're going to swiftly and smoothly come into a tree pose. Bend your standing knee, come off the ground with your hands, and take the right foot onto the inside of the left leg. Be here in tree pose for 5 breaths. Relax in your stillness, allowing there to be some wobble. Take your right foot down. You're now on both feet, so you can relax for a moment. Inhale, lift your hands up over your head. On your exhale, you will forward fold all the way again. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. Lift some weight into the toes. Leaning slightly forward, drawing your head away from you. And fold, exhale. Taking your hands like 2 little tents on the mat, just in front of the feet. Lift your left leg up this time. Try to have even hips. Get a feel for what it feels like to have even hips versus uneven hips. It's a little bit easier when our hips are misaligned, and when we try to bring them into alignment, it can be a little bit more difficult. You can always point your flexed floating toes. Point or flex your floating toes. Lengthen through the spine as though you were reaching your head away from you. Another 2 breaths here. There isn't a lot of weight in the fingertips. It's sort of just there as some balance. When you are ready, you'll bend your standing leg in order to have some strength to come up, placing yourself into a tree pose. When you get into tree pose, stay there for 5 breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. Take your left foot down and relax for a moment on both feet. Coming to the front of your mat, inhale your hands up over your head and exhale and fold into a forward fold. Your hands land just beside your feet like little tents once again, and you'll take a big step back with your right foot. Place your right knee down onto the mat and inhale your arms up over your head. A deep, low lunge. Look up towards your hands and lean back, really extending through the length of your front body, the length of your waist. Looking up and imagining your upper body as the shape of a moon. Shoulders are down, looking all the way up, stretching even through the front of the throat. One more deep breath. And fold down, framing your front foot, leaning your bum back in space for a halfway split. Your front foot can be adjusted manually if it just isn't landing the way you would like it in order to lean back. Sometimes it gets a little bit stuck in space. The toes can be flexed towards you, and at first you're looking towards that front foot, but as you come into it, you might start to look back towards your belly, sitting the bum down a little bit more, although not all the way. Stretching the front leg through the back. Breathe in and breathe out. If here you have balance, you can walk your hands back towards the rear, possibly lifting them up, sort of as though they were a cape. Balance can be quite tricky, so you could curl your back toes under, which might help. It's okay to wobble. It's okay to fall out. If you lifted your hands, you can place them back down on the mat. Walk them forward along with your front foot. We'll come back up again with our back leg floating in the air. Lift yourself up, and you're standing on the left foot with your right leg in the air. From this position, you'll try to even out your hips and come all the way up, standing up with your right leg out in front of you. Just as I'm doing here. My arms are out in front of me. My right leg is bent. The thigh is parallel to the ground. Shoulders are down. 3 more breaths. And I can place my hands down and my foot down. Give yourself a chance to catch your breath. We'll do that all on the other side. Inhale your hands up over your head. Exhale, forward fold down. Let your hands land and take a big step back with your left foot this time. Bring your left knee down onto the mat. Take your knees up to your front knee and lift them up over your head. There's a big stretch waiting for you here. Leaning all the way back, try to really open up your front. If it suits you, you can always cactus the arms. Maybe they're out wider. Fingers are even wide possibly. Shoulders are down. The front throat is long and the hips are low. Allow your hips to sink down. Reach back. Gradually start to come forward and down into your halfway split. Let your hands land. If you know that you want to try to bring your hands back in space, like a cape, then you might not go too deep in the legs so that you can reserve some of that energy for just staying balanced and up. We'll show you how it goes, and if you'd like, you can also do that. I've curled my back toes under to help with balance. I've flexed my front toes towards me, and I sort of need to walk my hands back one at a time, maybe trying to lift one at first, lengthening my spine, and then lifting the other. Once I feel balanced, then I can start to look a little bit more towards my tummy. The head is directed towards the toes. My hands are pretty close to the ground should I need to at any point bring them back down due to balance. If your hands went up, you can bring them back down. Place them sort of near the front foot. Lean into the front foot, rock forward, and lift your back foot up. Take a moment here to align your hips and stand all the way up with your left leg bent out in front of you, arms also out long in front of you. The foot can be flexed, the fingertips can be together, hips should feel somewhat even. We're here for 3 breaths. Go ahead to place your foot down and your hands and arms down. Catch your breath and relax. Coming back to the front of the mat if you're not already there. Inhale your arms up overhead and exhale, take a big deep forward fold. Let your hands come onto the ground. Take a big step back with your right foot. So my chest and my tummy are sort of rested at the moment on my front left thigh. And my legs feel quite strong. My back knee is not down on the ground, and my hands can come off the ground and in line with my back leg. Palms are facing the ground, and it's as though I'm going to start a race. I'm here for 5 breaths. Leaning into the front leg, there is equal weight in my back foot. Lengthen your arms towards the rear, shoulders are away from your ears, neck is long. Placing your left hand onto the inside of your left foot, turn your right heel down and come up. Yeah, you got it. There is some lift through my top arm. I don't have all of my weight down at the front left side of my body. So much so that I'm able to come up and be in a warrior 2. Lean into the front leg, bending it while maintaining some weight into your back leg. Cartwheel your hands down to frame your front foot and step back into a downward facing dog. We're in downward facing dog for 3 breaths. Stretching the back of your legs and strengthening your arms. Use your hands to press into the mat. Walk forward towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands are on the fronts of the legs. Lengthen your spine. Deep breath in and a long breath out as you fall back down. Bring your hands onto the mat and take a big step back with your left foot. Leave your knee high and your toes curled under. We'll do just what we did on the other side. So Feel steady and strong through the legs. Lift your hands and arms up anytime. Palms will face the ground. I have to lift up slightly through my upper body to feel straight in the back leg. Shoulders are away from my ears. I lengthen through my neck. I am still here. 2 more breaths. Taking my right arm and hand onto the inside of the right leg, I turn my back heel down and I lift my left arm up. My waist twists. There's space between my ear and shoulder. 2 or 3 more breaths. Until I am ready to come up into a warrior 2. Settling here for 3 breaths. Bending through the front knee. Lowering my shoulders down. Even weight, 1 more breath. Cartwheel your hands down and around, frame your front foot. Lift your back heel up and step back into a downward facing dog. Pedaling out your dog, stretch the back of your legs and lift your bum up, press into your hands. Breathe in and breathe out. From downward dog with strong hands, you're going to bend your knees and have them hover just above the mat. It's sort of like a tabletop, but your knees are hovered. So you've got that stretch in the toes as well. Here for 5 breaths. Use your core. Press into your hands. Let your knees come down and come into a child's pose. Take another breath in and out. Come all the way back up into a tabletop. We'll come into a dolphin pose, and there's 2 ways that you can enter into it, so I'll show you both. You could already come down onto your forearms, curl your toes under, and lift your bum up, like downward dog, but with your forearms on the ground rather than your hands. This is dolphin pose. So you could enter into it that way, or you can come all the way into a downward facing dog and then down onto your forearms. Either way, we're here for 5 breaths. You are not sunk into your shoulders. Your shoulders are really strong here. Your head is away from the mat. Another breath or 2. And bring your knees back down and come into a child's pose. 2 or 3 breaths, just relax. Take this as a moment to recover from that. Coming forward once again into a tabletop position. In tabletop, you'll take a big step forward with your right foot. So my right foot has landed just on the outside of my right hand. And I'm going to do some gecko here so I can walk my right foot more out to the right. Put my left hand in the center and place my right hand onto the inside of my right knee. Of course, I can lift the inside of my right foot up, so big toe comes up, baby toe side is down, and from there I can go even deeper, lowering my hips and groin, and even stretching upward and looking up and around that shoulder. If this all feels pretty okay, then the right hand can come up and be reached back in space, twisting even more. Chin is away from the shoulder. The hand can come back, landing just next to the other one. And I will heel toe, my right foot all the way across the center line and land down in a pigeon pose. If pigeon pose doesn't feel right to me today, I can take deer pose, in which case I'll land down on that hip and I'll bend my back leg. You can choose which one feels right to you today, and we're here for 10 breaths. Settle down in space and relax in the position. After a few breaths, you may want to come down even more. You can use your stacked fists as a pillow, even just one hand on top of the other. Deep breath in and a long breath out. We'll start thinking about coming up in pigeon pose. You can come all the way up onto your hands, taking a moment to look over towards the left, craning your neck, stretching your side body, and coming back to your center and looking over towards the right. You might move your hands slightly to that side as you do this. Coming back to your center, I sort of inch a little bit forward, curling my back toes under and moving my knee a little bit forward so that I can keep my toes curled under and lift my right leg all the way back up into the air in a downward dog. My right leg is up in the air, and then I can place it back down on the ground next to my left foot. Take a moment to pedal it out. Notice one side compared to the other side. And come back down into your tabletop. Down in your tabletop position, take a big step forward with your left foot, just on the outside of your left hand. You can heel toe your left foot more out to the left. Take your right hand more into the center and take your left hand onto the inside of the knee. If you know that you want to go further, your left hand might come back all the way whenever you're ready. Looking behind you, leave space between the shoulder and the chin. Taking a breath in and out. If you reach back with the hand, bring it forward. Place it next to your other hand. And heel toe, your foot all the way across the center line to settle into a hip opener of pigeon pose or 90-90. Take yourself down onto your forearms and relax for a few breaths. Breathing in and out deeply. Close your eyes. And consider coming down even more in space if you're able. Starting to slowly come back up, take your time. When you do come back up, you could take that opportunity to look left and right, maybe walking your hands more in that direction, leaning, lengthening the side body. On both sides. Coming back through your center, your hands are there. You'll curl your back toes under. Move your back knee so that it is closer for you. I find that just helps to come into a downward facing dog with my left leg up in the air. Stretching it long up in the air and then bringing it back down. Be in downward dog for a breath or two. Lift your bum up into space, press into your hands. From here, we're going to do a side plank, all right? So just take your time to settle in. I'm bringing my feet back away from me a little bit more, placing my left hand in the center, coming on to the outside of my left foot. And I can always place my right foot down in front of me, bending the knee as I lift my right arm up. If I'm able to have both feet stacked on one on the other, then it will look more like this. And it could also just be one foot in front of the other. We're here for another breath or two. Space between the shoulder and the chin. Come down anytime with your top arm. Come back into your downward facing dog. If your hands need a break, child's pose is just there for you. Otherwise, if you're ready and you understand how to come into a side plank, just go ahead to do that. Shifting over onto the outside of your right foot this time. Lift your left arm up. Keep your hips up in space. Maybe looking up towards the top hand. Give space between the shoulder and the chin. Press into the hands on the ground. One more breath. Bring the top hand down. Come back into a downward facing dog. In order to rest our hands, you can of course take your knees down anytime. Come into a child's pose and catch your breath. Take it easy here for 2 more breaths. Come up into a tabletop just long enough so that you can take yourself back onto your heels. And we'll be sat like that. Adjust any clothing or yourself on your mat so that you can see well. Take another breath in and out. We'll take our left hand down beside us, just like fingers like a tent, so there's almost no weight in that hand. And I'll lift my right arm up and come over. Looking up at your top arm, allow your side ribs to feel stretched. I can always walk my left hand out more if I want to lean over more in space. I'm not falling forward, I'm looking up and leaning back. Both of my bum cheeks are down towards my heels. I feel rooted towards the ground. Coming back to center, my right arm comes down, placed beside me, and I lift up through the left side. Same thing here. My seat is rooted downward as I lift it up through my side ribs, through my side waist, opening up towards the back. Breathe in and breathe out. Returning to center, my left arm comes down. I can come all the way onto my bum and onto my back, relaxing down. Lengthening my legs out. And being here just for 3 breaths. Take your right leg up and in towards the tummy, interlock your hands and place them on top. Draw your leg in towards your tummy. Lengthen your low back. Relax your shoulders downward and use the strength of your arms to pull your leg up. Breathe in deeply, let your belly meet your thigh. Take your hands and place them behind your knee or thigh, lifting your leg up in the air and flexing your foot. My foot is flexed as though it was holding onto a plate just above my head, and I wouldn't want that plate to fall on my face. So I'm extra careful to really try to keep my foot straight. And pulling my leg still in. It has a little bit of a shake. Another breath or 2. From here, I can adjust my hands. My left hand comes onto the outside of my leg, and I drape my leg across my body for a twist. If I want to, I can bend my knee. Both of my shoulders remain on the ground, and my right arm can come out long towards the right, along with looking over in that direction. A big breath in, let it all the way out. I kept my left hand on the outside of my leg, but it could also relax down and or be moved more towards the rear, or even the back, as it coerces the right leg over in the left direction. I might have my hand more near my ribs or my belly, stretching the skin over in that direction. Slowly bring yourself back to your center. Lay your legs out long. Take it easy for a moment, a few breaths, just to notice how that feels. When you're ready, your left leg will come up. If you don't feel much just by doing this shape, then you could lift your head up and your long leg could also hover, and you could imagine it being pulled away from you. So those are extra adjustments that you could take in order to go deeper if you weren't feeling it with your head down and your long leg down. Either way, shoulders are down all the way and your thigh is being pressed against your belly, especially as you breathe in, expanding it up towards the thigh. Do reserve some energy for the next position, which will take in a moment. The hands coming behind the knee. The leg can lengthen up in the air, the foot flexed. Try to have your leg be straight, although it just might not work. It's all right, the effort is there, the intention is to have a long leg, although the leg still is pressed inward with the hands through the back. Shoulders are down, breathe in and breathe out. When you're feeling ready to come into a twist, you can separate your hands, taking your right hand onto the outside of your left leg, draping your... Oh yeah, there we go, into a twist. And of course the leg might naturally need to be bent, which you can do. The knee itself, the thigh could be more up towards your belly or more down. And the left arm could be long, you can turn your head in that direction, and the right hand can work the fascia on the outside of the hip there by gripping the skin or the clothing and by adjusting it into that twisted direction. It's subtle, it's not a big movement, but you can sort of feel the twist happening deeper as you grip the skin and pull it over. Taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Come back to your center slowly, letting both legs lay out long. Breathing in and breathing out, we're starting to unwind and cool down. From this laying down position, you can take your arms up over your head, and instead of laying them all the way down onto the ground, they'll just hover. And your hands can be separated, and you can imagine them being tugged upward and away from you. This will lengthen your stomach, and while your arms are being imaginarily tugged, so can your legs. You might actually be able to hover one of your legs off of the ground. And then you can hover the other one off of the ground. If you are able to hover both for even a second, you could try. It takes a little bit of convincing. I didn't think I could do it at first, and then I tried, and I am able to. And then I can let them come back down. If you're able to do that and you want to do it once or twice more, even if it's just one leg at a time, it's all good. Use your core. And relax anytime you need to. Your arms are still hovered above your head on the ground. Bending both of your knees, bring your hands to the fronts of your thighs. And press your hands into your thighs. It's an invisible effort, so it's just you that knows it's happening. Continue to breathe, pressing your hands into your thighs, flexing your feet, imagining that you are pressing them into a wall. Another breath or two with all of your effort. Take your arms around your knees, hug them in, relax. Rock left and rock right, bringing your knees in closer towards you. As close as you can, your knees are squeezed in, and you can lift your head up towards your knees, giving yourself a big, big hug. Breathe in and breathe out. Another deep breath. Filling up the belly, letting your thighs press down on the tummy. Exhale all the way out. Let go of your legs. Allow your feet to land on the mat. Get easy and bring yourself into a place of rest. We're now in Shavasana. You can remove your glasses if you would like to. Softening all parts of your body. Even allowing the face to feel soft, you can move your eyes around left and right and up and down. Also, your tongue can move around in your mouth, and you can open and close your mouth as well. Shifting the jaw left to right, squeezing and or relaxing the face, the cheeks, the jaw. If you've lost the connection to your breath, you can bring that back here by breathing slightly deeper and more intentionally. Taking fresh air into your brain, into your heart, and into your lungs. Softening all of your body. Breathe out all the way. Take as long as you would like to lay in Shavasana. Namaste.